So, government announced that it is illegal to collect rainwater. More on that in a little bit. I'm down here, probably my second most favorite spot. Ignore the dogs. I'm literally in a city park, a little bit of ways away from where I live. I say this is the second favorite spot. My home, the property, is my favorite spot. So here we have a natural spring water. And the town was probably developed around this spring. It's really cool. Now, they've busted it up. It wouldn't take much to fix this. What you got to do is you got to put a wall. I'll bring you down to the other side. You're supposed to bring a wall so the water will build up on the opposite side over here. So you want the water level to come up. And then you can put your buckets down in here and pull the water out. But for some reason, they keep knocking down the dam so it doesn't raise up. If something were to happen and you needed water, you just put a board there and that'll take care of that problem. And then over here, I suspect this was to do your laundry. As the water came out, you did your laundry over here. And again, there's supposed to be a dam on the other end of that, but they've busted that out too. I don't know why they intend to do that. Now, this town used to be incorporated in, I think, 2015. Don't quote me on that. They unincorporated. They voted. And so they got rid of the city hall and the mayor and everything. So nobody is responsible for the park. This is a city park. But the townspeople come together and they take care of it. There's a swing set and stuff up there, and they replace the seats, and they do a fairly good job. They mow the grass. Tree fell down a few years ago, and I came down here and cut the tree up. I took the firewood. It's a nice city park. But again, it's unincorporated, so the dogs run loose. You got to be careful with that, and they're going to make all kinds of noises if they hear me talking. They've already ran down here once. And of course, they're bigger dogs. You kind of, oh, are you safe? It's always been kind of in the back of my mind that if something were to happen to my well in an SHTF situation, that I would come down here and use this. Now, I also think that in normal circumstances, this would be like a good backup for me. I'd just come down here and get water. I don't know, I probably could reuse my lawnmower, grab some buckets, come down here, go back, and within an hour and a half, I'd have water back at the house. That being said, I don't need to come down here when things are okay. I have a 250-gallon IBC tank that stores my water. So about every 5 days, I top off the IBC tank. And we only use about 50 gallons in those 5 days, so 10 gallons a day. So 250 gallons, 10 gallons a day, that's 25 days. So if I fill it up at 50 gallons, and for some reason my well pump broke, or I couldn't get the power to go on my generator, the solar panels, remember I have two power supplies. I got the generator, I actually have two generators, and a solar panel that can run the well pump. The solar panel is a little bit more difficult right now because we have the refrigerator on the solar panels also. But if it's SHTF or something like that, stuff hits the fan, were to happen, we get rid of the fridge. And we just dedicate the solar panels to the well. That's the only thing we use it for. But when times are good, no big deal. Now, let's say I start up the well pump today and it just didn't go. Well, I have a backup well pump, so within a day, I could have that replaced. And it probably wouldn't be a day. The biggest thing is I usually wait until about noon to fill the IBC tank because I'm busy doing other things all day. And I always think, well, if something happens to the generator, I can still hook it up to solar panels, and the sun's high up in the sky, so I wait till noon. So 50 gallons have been used. I start up the well, it doesn't work. No big deal. The next morning I would get up, I'd pull that well pump out. That only takes 15 minutes to pull it out, and I could replace it with the one I have in standby. But let's just assume that didn't work, and I had to order a new well, or a new generator, or something, some big catastrophe where I couldn't do it. Well, would I come down here? No, not necessarily. Remember, I got 25 days worth of water. So I could order a new well pump, I could order a new generator, whatever I needed to do. Surely I could get it done before, well, I've used 50, so it'd be 20 days. Surely I could use it up before the 20 days. I don't think I'd ever have to use this in a normal situation. Now, they talk about SHTF. Here's the thing, is a lot of municipalities and governments, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in depth, don't allow you to take water. They consider water government property. So even well water, I think in California now they are charging or going to charge residents who own a well, they're going to make them put a meter on their well and then they'll have to pay for the water. So they have to pay for the electric, they have to pay to put the pump in, and dig the well and the whole thing. And now they have to pay for the water. A lot of people are going to tell me that's just the big farmers. And that's not true. Back in September, that bill didn't pass. But they're still charging residents in certain counties for their own water usage. In an SHTF, would I be willing to come down here to get water? I don't think I would. Although it's always a good little thing to say, oh, I got this backup supply. And a lot of preppers talk about this. I got this supply of water. Well, they never test their systems. And in an SHTF situation, you can never really test an SHTF situation. And the reason is because there's going to be other things that are going to be involved that you can't duplicate. So today I watched a video from one of my favorite YouTuber families. I'm not going to mention her name today. I didn't get permission. But she was doing a test on her water system. And she had this theory that she could go down to the little creek, get some water, bring it back up, 10 gallons, in her little wagon, and do laundry. And it was completely a test. She'd never done it before. Well, the first thing she did, she got down there, she fell. Well, imagine that. You're down there in an SHTF situation, and you fall, and you hurt yourself. How long are you going to sit there and wait? No ambulance services or something, whatever. So you want to kind of get an idea of what you're doing when things are good. I always say, test your preps. Well, I test my preps every day. Carolyn does laundry literally like this lady did in the video 2 times a week. She gets her plunger out, her toilet plunger. She's got 2 tubs of water. We got the water from the well. The only thing I've never tested was to get this water. And like I said, it's not very probable that I will ever get water out of this. So the only thing I haven't tested is the theory that I'm gonna come down here with a lawnmower, you can get some buckets of water and run back up. Let's just call it a financial Great Depression happens. Let's just assume that happens. SHTF happens, all of a sudden no electric or no banking systems and all kinds of crazy things. So I get this idea that people imagine what they're gonna do is immediately they're gonna go out and start hunting. You're not gonna need a hunting license because SHTF, right? And they're going to come down here and take this water because of SHTF. And that's not true. If you think about the last Great Depression, the only business operating really was the government. Even if it was a total financial collapse, the government still has enough money to operate probably for another year because they got that in their budget already. So all the government employees are still going to have jobs. So if you decide you want to go out and hunt, you can't go hunt, not for the first year, because the conservation officers are still going to be out in the woods saying, no, you can't hunt. If you live in a location where it's illegal to get water, even rainwater, I think in Oregon and Washington, maybe California, several of those western states, it's illegal to collect rainwater. Well, if your plan is to collect rainwater during an SHTF, it's still illegal. And there's still going to be government employees coming out and telling you can't do that. One of the things that I think a lot of people don't realize is, oh, I'll just go down to the local stream and I'll get some water. Let's assume that we are a year into the SHTF and government has disbanded, or it's like a place like this where no controls in place, so there's no government at all here. So you're out in the county somewhere and you got the stream. So you think, I'm going to go down there and I'm going to get water. That's my plan, but you never test it. Even if you did test it, what difference does it make? Because imagine this, and I think this is a real possibility. Water is going to be a valuable commodity, and people are going to want to trade with water. I've talked about this before. Firewood, food, water, these are all going to be valuable commodities. People talk about gold. Oh, I got gold. I'll just go down, and if I need food, I'll go over to my neighbor's house. I'll give him some gold. Well, if you come to my house and ask me for food and you hand me a piece of gold, nah, I don't need gold. I really don't need anything, but what could I use? Well, in my case, do you have a skill that I could use? Can you build anything? Can you cut down a tree and make it into a barn? Those kind of things. And if you got that skill, that's much more valuable to me than gold. So water is going to be very valuable, especially if you don't have the systems in place like I do, and they've been tested like I have tested them. You're going to come down here and you're going to see a gang of people. And I'm not trying to be ridiculous. You're going to see people who have established a dominance in this area. And so when you come down and you're wanting water, well, the first thing they may say is, no, you can't have any water, it's mine. And then they're going to, hey, this is going to be a really financial benefit to me. Look at all these people come down here needing water. So you can have 5 gallons for one full meal for me and my crew. So now you got to go home, you got to get the food, you got to prepare it, you got to bring it back, you got to feed them, in the hopes that they'll give you the water. I mean, we're talking about a real dystopia here. I mean, if we're talking about SHTF that's lasted a year, that the government entities have fallen apart, or you're in an area like this where it's just not monitored, I could imagine if people don't have water here, don't have electric, can't get their wells to run, that this is going to be a place to go. Because I've seen people currently come down here and get water. I remember when we were in Virginia, there was a spring coming out of the mountain, and there was lines of people just standing there waiting to get water. I actually got into a conflict with somebody about the water. In peacetime, in a non-SHTF situation, I'm in a conflict with somebody because they're wanting to jump ahead of everybody. This is public property, anybody can use it. Well, of course you can use it, but common societal norms means you wait in line. So we've been waiting there hours and this woman jumps in front of us. Well, imagine if it's SHTF. And these bullies decide that they're going to take control of that mountainside. Well, and you got all these people lined up for water. Now, are they going to just say, okay, next, come on in, I need your, what do you got for me? They're not going to do that. What they're going to do is they're going to walk up and down the line, they're going to say, what do you got? Well, I got some food here. Okay, you go ahead. And then the next person, they're going to go up and say, I got a piece of gold. What do I need gold for? Go away. Get out of here. And if you don't leave, maybe they shoot you. Like this lady did in this video, and like I have suggested in tons of video, you got to test your preps. You got to make sure that what you have in place will work. And then you got to think about the extreme circumstances. A lot of these preppers give me the mental impression that they're going to be the bullies. Oh, I'm going to come out here, I'm going to take some water. Really? Are you sure? How many people can you defeat? And I'm not trying to scare you. What I would like for you to do is, one, test your preps, but two, be completely self-sustaining. I talk about this all the time. Do not rely on people. I hear these preppers all the time. Oh no, you're going to have to build a community of people and you're going to be in close proximity with people. No, stay away from them. They're dangerous. They're going to want your stuff eventually. And eventually, just like in this society, once it starts breaking down, they go crazy. And we see it in the cities now. Society is breaking down in the cities, and it's become lawless. What makes us think that in a non-governmental society that it's going to be any better? No, it's going to be just as bad. And so the people who feel like they're losing out in your little community are going to do whatever it takes to survive. So you got to rely on yourself. And there's only 4 things you really need: food, shelter, water, and defense. So if you'll click this up next box, take to a video I was talking about the USDA. So if I can inspire you to test your preps so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.